Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how you can use selections and masks to combine images and create convincing composites. I want to combine the girl here with this background and come up with something that looks like this. And this is really easy to do with a few selection tools and commands in Photoshop. So I'm going to start by opening up my two before images here. I have my fountain DNG and my girl retouched JPEG. I'm just going to hold Command or Control. That's Command on a Mac, Control on a PC. I'm going to hold that and click on both files here in Bridge to highlight them both, and then right click and choose Open. And my girl will open normally because it's a JPEG. My fountain image will open up into Adobe Camera Raw, so I can just click Open Image to bring it into Photoshop. So let's start by going to the girl retouched image here, and I want to isolate her from her original background. And I can do this using a couple of different selection tools and commands. So you can find an array of selection tools in this section here of the Tools panel. You can see we have the marquee selection tools, and below them the lasso selection tools, and then we have a couple of slightly cleverer tools, the quick selection tool and the magic wand tool. I'm going to use the quick selection tool, and this allows me to paint an area and the tool will snap onto edges. So if I paint over here, you can see how the tool seeks out areas of high contrast that you'd normally find around edges and snaps onto them. So it's very easy to paint a selection around an object like the girl here, and the tool does a fairly good job of snapping on to the edges of the detail. Let's just continue bringing that selection around this side, and we can just fine-tune the selection by painting over this area here. If we accidentally paint over some of the background, we can hold Alt, and that will allow us to paint to subtract areas from the selection. You'll find that all of the different selection tools have these icons up here that allow you to add or subtract from a selection, but it's much easier to use the keyboard shortcut Shift, which will allow you to add, Alt, which will allow you to subtract, and Shift and Alt together will allow you to intersect. So the quick selection tool has given us a decent start for our selection, but we can improve it a great deal by using the Refine Edge command. Now you can find Refine Edge by going to Select Refine Edge, but with any of the selection tools you'll find that you have this option up here. We'll just click that to enter the Refine Edge settings. Now you can see how hard and nasty our selection is looking at the moment. We can choose different views with the drop down here, but I think the on black view is working well for this particular image. And then we can use these sliders here to improve the edge of our selection and make it much more precise. Now the key here is the radius slider. If I drag that up, this is going to increase the area of refinement around the edge. So if I drag that up to about 57, you can see immediately how we're beginning to pick up a lot of those stray hairs that we lost with our original hard selection. And if you want to see the area in which the radius is working, you can check Show Radius here, and that will give you an idea of the area in which the refinement is occurring. And we can increase this area by using the Refine Radius tool here. So I can just paint over the image to increase the area of refinement around parts of the image where we want to perhaps bring in a few more of those stray hairs. Just like that. And then if we uncheck Show Radius, we'll go back to our view of the image. And I can also improve the selection further by using the contrast slider here, just to give me a slightly more contrasty edge. And that will help to zone in on those stray hairs. And I'm pretty happy with that. You can see we picked up a few of these highlights in the background, but I'm not worried. We can use another selection command in a second to sort out that problem. So you can see I've set radius 57.4, contrast 12, and output to selection. I'm going to hit OK to apply that and bring me back out to my main view of the image. And I can tweak the selection further by hitting Q, and that will enter quick mask mode, and you can see that gives us this pink overlay. Now we can paint with white or black while in this view mode to add or subtract areas from our selection. If we paint with white, that will add areas. If we paint with black, we can subtract areas. So I'm going to paint with white by selecting white as my foreground color. I'm then going to grab the brush tool, and I'm going to zoom in by using Command or Control and plus, and I'm going to hold the spacebar to drag around, and then I can paint with white to add areas to my selection. And if I hit X, I can paint with black, and then I can hide these highlight areas that have crept in from the background. So this is all just about fine-tuning the edges of our selection, and I can do the same over here. If I paint with black, I can just mask out a few of those areas from the selection. If we go down here, I can see the edge here is looking a little harsh, so I'm going to paint with black just to smooth out that edge, and then hit X and paint with white just to make sure that we're including the whole of that shoulder in our selection. And again, paint with black just to smooth out the edge there. Let's go and have a look at the other edge. I can also click on a point, hold shift and click on another point, and that will paint a straight line between those 2 points. So it's quite good if you've got a fairly straight line like the line of the shoulder here. I can just hold shift and click points to draw straight lines between those points with the brush tool. And once you're happy with the fine tuning you've made in quick mask mode, you can hit Q, and that will bring you back out to a view where you have your marching ants. And I'm happy with my selection. Now I'm ready to combine it with my fountain image, but rather than simply copy and paste the pixels, I'm going to convert my selection to a layer mask. So I'm going to go to Window, Layers to bring up my layers panel, and I'm just going to double click my background layer here, and that will turn it into an editable layer. And then I can simply click the Add Layer Mask icon here at the bottom of the Layers panel, and this will turn my selected area into a mask, and you can see how the white areas on the mask are visible and the rest is hidden. Then I can right click on the layer here, making sure I'm clicking on the layer section here, not the mask thumbnail or the image thumbnail. If I right click here, I can choose Duplicate Layer, and in the destination settings here I can choose the other image. So I can go to my fountain image and hit OK, and then if I flick to the fountain image, you can see how we've copied that layer over. Then I can grab the Move tool, and I've got Auto Select checked up here. Then I can simply click and drag my girl into position like that. And if I just zoom in a little closer, you can see how we've created a really believable composite in minutes. And the great thing about changing my selection to a layer mask is that all of the information on our girl layer is still available to us. It's just either revealed or hidden behind this mask. So if I want, I can click on the mask and then paint with white to reveal more areas. So if I want to tidy up the shoulder here, I can simply paint with white. And if I go wrong, if I accidentally paint over a bit of the background, I can hit X and then paint with black to hide that area. So we can fine tune as much as we like. So there we go. That's how you can create composites by using a combination of selection tools and the Refine Edge command. Thanks for watching.